Steve, Andy, what's going on today?
Hey, Scott. Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Steve. Hi, Scott. Hi, everyone.
All right. Welcome to a bi-weekly Trade of the Week webinar. Lots of good stuff to talk about today, especially since we've got the test drive coming up. But we'll get to there. We'll just let people file in as usual. Let me make sure my window is open here so I don't miss anything. Perfect. Just a reminder, the disclaimer, Andy and I have been trading our own accounts for 20 years, longer actually. We've been working for Trade Ideas for about 6 or 7, but all of our opinions here are basically our own opinions. We're not registered advisors, and we're not giving financial advice, and it's definitely not related to Trade Ideas. These are just our own personal opinions. If you want somebody to really be in control, you have to go pay them a fee and let them take you to lunch. All right, just a reminder again, as people are filing in, okay, there are people filing in. So just a reminder, we're gonna have a lot of people again coming into the test drive next week, excuse me. And it's really important to try and, budget your time to try and learn as much as you can to help the program get you what you want to get back from it, whether you're swing trading or you want a day trade or you want a momentum trade, you want to trade low float, high shorts, we can show you in the right way to do it, but you got to come in and learn. So what that means is, highly recommend that every single day Barry's live trading room is open, and then at 12 o'clock Eastern, and next week at 3:30 Eastern, not this week, but 12 o'clock Eastern every day, we have one of us come in and take it from Barry. Tomorrow is going to be Jamie. I'll be doing that Thursday. That's my new day. Andy does them on Fridays. But very important to come and come and learn. It's very hard to just type in chat, how do I do this? How do I do that? You need visuals, and we can go back and forth in a very efficient way when you come to these webinars and ask questions. So please do that if you have questions. There's a tradeideas.com/live. That's our redirect. If you just type that in, we'll remember you and redirect you to YouTube, and you'll never miss another YouTube live. So we're going to talk a lot about, again, stock racing today. This is really a new feature, and it's being embraced slowly by pretty much everybody here in Trade Ideas now. There were a couple holdouts, but everybody is on board. And again, I'll talk about why that's a pretty good thing. Let's go one more slide here. Just a reminder, Dave Mabe is our also Chief Technology Officer, Chief Developer. And he's also a trader, which is really what makes Trade Ideas unique. It's not a program built for traders. It's a program built by traders for traders. We know what traders want. So if you want to get into his mind, trade-ideas.com/strategy. That is an ebook, kind of getting in the mind of Dave Mabe, who's, again, our Director of Development. Okay, so here we go. Once again, man and machine, you need them both combined, because a human without a machine is not going to know what to look at, and a machine without a human is not going to know how to manage the trades. So it's a perfect symbiotic relationship, and if you're just one or the other, you're missing out. You need to use the machine and the brain together. There's 9,000 stocks out there. Trade Ideas can turn that data fire hose into a small trickle hose of only the things that you want to see. And then when you decide to take action on them, you're the better manager of a trade than any AI could ever be. AIs have good entries, good ideas, but so do these races, and we're certainly going to talk about that. So let's just get going here. Today, we're going to talk market recap. We're going to obviously do the last 2 trade of the weeks, go over those. I have a brand new concept that I just came up with this morning, and I'm going to be starting to use this race idea now. I also just went through and did a lot of videos on the new features that are coming in our new 5.6 version build, and that'll be available probably in the next couple of days, definitely before the weekend. So I want to show you some of the new features so you can anticipate some of the new things that are coming and get a head start. And then we'll finish with, as usual, chart requests. All right. Just a side note, I was in the Twitter spaces yesterday with Wolf Financial, and in real time, Phase came through, and I told them I really like this chart. I've been watching it. It's a new issue. It's been hugging this 10 SMA right there. So I took it home yesterday, as I often do. When things look good at the close, I took it home yesterday, right about there. And it's been working. So I'm really, really pleased with the way these races do show you where the action is. We'll get to more of that. So starting off with market recap, as usual, let's go ahead and get a big chart up here. A couple interesting things did happen today. Let me grab that. Okay, let's look at the cues first. No, look at the SPY, my bad. All right, so let's just look at the weekly just to start and see if there's anything of interest there actually. Weekly, not really. I'm just gonna go off the day here, it looks like. So back to daily. All right, so we've had a big push off of lows, albeit it's on, declining volume, but that's kind of how this market is. But this was the moment of truth right here. This is where the shorts lost control, broke above and closed above the declining and flattening 50-day SMA. Came back in a perfect textbook touch, a pivot level. The 50 SMA acted as a pivot level. Also price level too. If you look left over there, there's a lot of closes and opens and pivots. But once it closed above the 50, that was a shot across the bow to the shorts. And it's what I look for too. It tells me the general strength may be turning and the general health may be improving. So trade above, a couple days chop, pulled back. Where did it find support? The same place that it was prior resistance became current support. So that worked out well in that respect. Again, Nasdaq, kind of the same thing happened, I believe. Yeah, for the most part, broke above, pulled back, found support at the pivot level right there, the 50 SMA, and then pushing. So the shorts have definitely been on their heels the last few days. And if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of those meme stocks that are running and short squeezes. We'll talk about those. I was lucky enough to nail Bed Bath & Beyond. I was tweeting about it last week. It had a giant short float, and it finally squeezed. And I took out this opportunity yesterday in that gap up to just take my profits and get out. And I was so happy that worked. But as usual, I was in some other junky stuff today that didn't really help as well. So it's a lot of give and take, a lot of give and take out there. Everything looks like it's pulling back to, what do we have? The 10 SMA. 10 SMA, perfect. Matter of fact, the S&P has chopped sideways, okay, into the 10 SMA. We could get some interesting movement tomorrow. The Nasdaq Cues, same kind of thing, but they had a little bit of a deeper pullback. They got ahead of themselves, a little bit more of a pullback, but bounced right above and closed right above the rising 10 SMA. So I would be a little nervous if I was short sellers again tomorrow coming into this market. I mean, we have this looming 200-day. It's very possible that the Nasdaq and the Qs want to act on that as a target. And I can do the same thing here with the SPY and probably see the same thing for the most part. Yeah, there you go. So we might have one more push left in this market up to the 200-day. We shall see, but it's very interesting that we did bounce off of these 10 SMAs dailies. Anything you want to add to the market commentary, Andy?
No, I totally agree with you. As a matter of fact, I shorted IWM. I think you probably remember me calling it out yesterday, pretty near that close to high. It started out as a hedge. And yeah, I almost caught the low there in TZA, but I covered almost at highs today in TZA just because of those same reasons you were talking about. I did not like the way we were stalling out, right above those moving averages, mostly in the SPYs and Qs. IWM may have a little further to go and may reach that 10. But yeah, I agree with you. I didn't like the way everything was just kind of stalling out and slopping around.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's where we are. I think the SPY chart is really the most interesting of the two because of that sideways. It's almost like a what do they call those? Ascending triangles or ascending wedges, right? Those can be really intense when they break. I mean, actually, that's not really the right way I want to draw. I want to kind of draw it more like this.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that could be a really interesting. It's because the point is, guys, there's no pullback. You can consolidate in time, which is what we have here, time consolidation, but not much price consolidation, or you can consolidate in price. Either way, it's a consolidation, but the one that's the best one are the ones that go sideways and even kind of creep up here, and then they touch their 10 SMA. I think tomorrow could be interesting. I have some long positions, and I'm prepared to actually start taking profits on some of them if they do start working, because as we start to move up closer here, if we do get another leg higher, I don't really feel like establishing new positions in a market that's running into a brick wall right there. So I'm sure you feel the same way.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So that's it for market recap. Let's move on, shall we? The two trade of the weeks. So last week, we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, was Riot. But let's go ahead and rewind here, what we saw. Boom. Okay, as I just said, price can consolidate in two forms, either pulling back or going sideways, right? So that was what I saw going into the weekend. And I also saw, some Bitcoin strength. There's a little bit of sector sympathy in there, I should say. But you just can't pass up a chart like this. I don't remember where I found it. Excuse me. It doesn't matter. The point is, giant volume, giant push off lows. Okay, so the shorts probably got squeezed. It did the same thing that the market did. It broke back above the 50-day, and then it started to pull back. So it's just a matter of how many days do you really want to let these things work for you. I mean, I'm out of this. We broke out one big move here. I think I actually sold this day. I was just, a day and a half, I see a certain number of dollars, I take it. And then it pulled back, and now it's just been kind of swirling around. So if you're still in Riot, the good news is, look what it did here. Sold off in price, consolidated in price, and where did it find buyers? Right there. Right there at the 10 SMA. It's almost like magic sometimes. Matter of fact, 10 SMA, just back to phase here. Look at this 15-minute chart. I mean, I try to just highlight this whenever I can. It's almost like magic, when a stock is in motion with volume, and we call it momentum, so long as you're above that 10-period simple moving average on a 15-minute chart, sit on your hands. What I do is I try to wait for the first candle to come down and close below this moving average, and then I will get out. So that might be what happens tomorrow. If we get a really good push tomorrow, hope I'm not getting ahead of myself, I will start fading out of some. And then if I trail any of the rest of it, I will get out of my trailing piece using that first close below a 10 SMA, whether it's this stock or any other stock. That's how I like to play momentum and take profits with momentum. So Riot worked. Hopefully some people made some alpha on that one. It's pulled back, but might even be giving us a second chance. Mara had earnings, I think. I would keep an eye on, Mara had earnings, looks like no event, but I would keep an eye on Bitcoin and Mara if you want to continue to play Riot, if it does in fact pull back and hold that little lockup here. There we go. Okay. BJ Wholesale was this week's. This one was same kind of a thing, same kind of a thing, guys. We get a little bit of a push up through and then that reversal. It's really hard to get a lot of things to follow through, but the thing, that I noticed about BJ's Wholesale, I'm just going to show you right here. When you talk about relative strength, I mean, we've been staring at the SPYs and Qs for the last couple minutes. Does this look like that? No. It is not under its 200-day. It's not being suppressed. It's not got more hurdles ahead of it. BJ is a relatively strong chart. And if you think about it, the story of inflation and people trying to save a buck wherever they can, if they got to drive 10 minutes and join BJ Wholesales to save 50 bucks, well, then they're going to do it. So I think there's a good story there behind their business model. But a little bit of back and forth, it's still, the trade is definitely still open. The suggested stop, as usual, is going to be a close below the rising 20-day SMA in red. So that's going to be our close. Matter of fact, if you look back here, it even shows us it doesn't really like to close below the 20. It popped back up this day, this day, this day. Not so much that day, but these 3, 4, 5 days, it just doesn't want to be below its 20-day moving average. Not really a good short float to squeeze, but I think there's a good story. And again, we're just kind of playing relative strength on the chart here. So third time, fourth time might be a charm if it gets through, but it just might take a few more choppy days to really get to get its sea legs behind it. But I think there's a good story there. And again, the chart looks good. Anything you want to talk about in the eye versus Hollier if you want, and Andy, jump on in.
Okay, sure. I'll just say, yeah, you need a little break since we haven't been covering the AI that much lately.
You want the screen?
Sure, I'll grab it.
All
right. So no, I think this is a good thing to do because there has been some good calls in there, and you're going to find out when you're looking at my calls that a lot of them are just good setups. In other words, I'm not just chasing highs. I'm looking for something on the chart that may just be getting going. And a lot of times, an example today was the two calls today was lithium, and just like the way this was setting up, definitely showing relative strength the last couple of days. Remember, the market was down the last couple of days. This is up. Okay, it was called. It's down a little bit. I think I called it right around 26.52 or 3 in the eye. One to keep an eye out tomorrow. I think if it does take out this weak high right here, it could really have a nice move to it. Another one was DQ. This is one that I have traded very well in the past, and look how it's been holding on to this 10 period. Even on this day right here, it tried to drive down. It still was able to close right at the 50 period. I'm sorry, I said the 10.
That's a
But
nice looking consolidation there. I like that.
Look at that. Well, not only that, you have all these moving averages converging, right? So this was called right above 65 today. Now we did have. I think I may have called it on this. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was this one. Anyway, regardless, it was around 65.20. And wait a minute, I got it right here so I can show you. I think. What happened to that? Oh well, it's gonna have to trust me. There it is. Yeah, so 65.20 there and DQ today. So, and then it closed around 66. And this is looking good, even though you had a couple of ugly days. A lot of it is due to the China market selling off. K-Web's been getting hit. But this sector has been holding up strong. I'm actually in JKS as well, just because I want to be in this from yesterday. Now, it doesn't look as good. It's below its moving averages, but I bought it yesterday at this support level. Didn't call that one, but watch for a call on this JKS tomorrow. So a few others that were called during the week. Run was a good call. This was called right around there on this day, right around 32. Had a nice push, still in the money, even though we've had some down days. Netflix I keep trying to click on my Netflix had a beautiful setup here, had some nice movement yesterday. I did sell half. I'm still in half of that, but anyway, I won't go over all of them. There's some good ones in there. There's some that are still flat, but just want to point that out occasionally, guys, because I know the people we're working with this group out of China, they're loving it, and so I think for those who may not be just day trading all the time and look for some swing trades, you might want to keep that eye up on your default layout somewhere. All right, Steve.
Sure.
I'll send it back to you.
What was that little window you brought over? The A window that you brought over? Do that again. I want to show you something.
A window.
Yeah, you had an alert window you brought over.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
The new
Why does his window look different? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes here. So this is a new feature coming forward. I see Andy's already using it. All right. Thank you. Let's see. I'll take it back.
I could have sent it to you. You got it?
Yep.
Or do you want me to send it? Okay.
I got it. Should be good.
Yep.
All right. So the next topic I want to do is I've created a brand new race. And let me just give you the concept behind this. There's many ways that we can create races. We can do races on, Bollinger Bands stretching out, which is this one I got from Chris. We can do new highs, volume. Definitely, if you go to the channel, doc channel, we've got explosive movers. I'll just do that right now. I think it's a great channel for anybody who's looking for ideas right off the bat. You will see, we'll go to doc channel bar, and you will see we've revamped, I should say, all of our pre-configured layouts here with the new tools. So if you go to explosive winners, what you're going to get now is you're going to get the actual scans, and you're going to get a race related to the top winners. So you really don't have to do any configuration other than just going to new doc channel bar, check on explosive winners, and you've got yourself, pretty much watching where the action is. So that's another way to use the race. But I've talked a lot over the couple of years here now about my favorite swing trading scan, the A table. Why do I like the A table so much? Well, it's called the A table because there was a point in time that I used to find short squeeze potentials, so basically short floats at 15 or higher, but we also included what we call our score. And the point was I wanted to have a high score, like the A students. The A students that also had high short floats. There was a time when that kind of worked really well. Matter of fact, GameStop and AMC were just screaming at one point last year on this particular scan. So that begs the question, well, actually go to the filters. So I had the old A table with a 90 score. So watch what happens if I adjust it back up to only the A stocks, meaning good looking charts moving higher. Let's go ahead and click that. There's nothing in there because that's not the story of the market. The story of the market is we took a vicious beating, big correction out there. So this is no longer a viable method. So what I will do is I'll go back and I'll say, screw it, just give me everybody with a 50 who's got a short float of 20% or higher with average daily volume, something I can trade, which should be 5 million. Oh, it's 500,000. I'm sorry, 500,000 is very good setting. But we've got nothing in there. So let's go ahead and fix that and we'll move on. 20, 90, I need to change that to 50 and click OK, OK, and we're back. So look at all of these options. I mean, there's tons of stocks out there, guys, that have big short floats, and that's what I'm sorting on here. The short float, you can see a dark color. So all of these up here, these have extremely high short float. I was in HRTX, which I got off of this particular scan because I liked it a couple days ago. Sold it too soon, sold it on this day right here. Didn't participate today, but that's okay. So I started thinking, well, there's a lot of names in here. This is a perfect concept for a race. So I created the A table race. What I had to do also was I had to add a change from the open column right here, because that's what I want to run this race directly off of this top list window with change from the open. So if we look at the configuration, show race setup, we've got a 10-minute race, 10 cars, 10 stocks in a 5-minute race. Change from the open is what it's based on, and it's sorted on delta value. So the highest always goes to the top, like you're seeing over here. And that's it. And so all day long, I've been looking at ideas. Okay, and here's how you do that. Let's go to the end of the day. All of these are 5-minute race winners. So you can come back at the end of the day and you can go, who was really starting to look like they're getting scared for a short squeeze around here? Just continue to walk through this, this alert is not telling you to buy it, but it's telling you these are what the charts look like today for the stocks that were doing something at some point in the day. There we go, that's interesting. That's a very interesting chart. I'm gonna actually put this down here, closed on highs. We have a stock with 48% short the float, but the problem is, looks like it's having earnings today. We'll see how it goes tomorrow, but it doesn't take much to light this candle with 48% of 25 million short. So if I'd not watched this race and clicked on here, I'm not going to see it. Sure, I could click on every single one in here, but I think I'd rather focus on the ones that were winning a lot of races today, ones that were showing up over and over. SEN's has been short squeezing from 5 days ago, but now it's maybe going to pull back and find some support. So it's just a nice way to find ideas in real time, taking it to the next level from a typical top list window, and then watching in real time. And if you're not watching it in real time, again, you can just go in and click the history. What were some of the names that just kept showing up here? Are they doing anything interesting? There's that Verve again. So that Verve won at least 2 or 3 races. And so that's when you start to see stocks that are, CN won 4 races, but I don't think that's doing it. Yep, closed on lows after a good morning. But that's the concept of how you can take a concept from a top list window and turn it into a race, whether you're using Bollinger Bands stretched out, or a change from the open, or new highs from the explosive winners channel. It's very, very customizable. Where did you make the call you're mentioning in the chat room? Oh, let's see. Okay, so I'll do that for you. So Andy was talking about something called the Trader's Eye, and this is a real-time curated swing time idea list. So we're going to go dock channel bar, and instead of going to explosive winners, we're going to go to, what are we watching? Where is it? Let's see. So notice right here, show more. This button is not very intuitive. I've made the request to get something with more contrast, but once you click that, we've got the ability to open up everything. Now, did I miss the Trader's Eye?
Yeah, it's
I
right
probably
there.
did, huh?
Yeah, it's
right in front of me. Okay. Anyway, I want to show that button too. So the Trader's Eye in a new docked window will open up this for you, and you will see the races are being run off of it. The watch list ideas are here, and everything you need is right there in real time. Anything you want
Let
to
me
add
add
to this
something.
channel? Yes, please.
Yes, for definitely want to add something, because here's the deal. Okay, this is set up on a 5-minute high. So in other words, when I see an idea and I tried it out with the top list, it just isn't. It's not working correctly, because if you come, if you look at it on a top list, you're really not going to have it's going to show you the current price, so it's not going to be timestamped. So what I use is a 5-minute high, but here's the caveat: you have to have this window open at all times, or otherwise it's going to show you the 5-minute high whenever you open up this. So in other words, if you come in later in the day and say, let's see what Andy's looking at for a swing trade, and fire it up, it's going to give you the most recent 5-minute high. So it's not going to be time stamped at the time I called it. So make sure if it's something that you do want to follow, and you don't have to pull. Steve can show you how you can save it to the cloud and pull it up on your own layout, so you don't have to have this whole doc up.
I'm going to show one more thing though. If you want this whole doc, well, let's do this. The whole doc is there in new docked channels TI. But I think this doc is important because, again, here's the first window where the ideas are resting in there. Nothing's happening, but this is where all the action happens. So I was just noticing, Andy, looks like the actions have been turned off. I would like to play sound. If I had this open, I would like to play a sound setup and know if it's minimized or I'm not looking at it. I hear text to speech.
There you go.
And I know something just happened in the swing trade idea. So you can minimize that like that. And if you hear that voice, bring up the trader's eye. Something just dropped in the new alert window. Looks like it
Great
did.
idea. Yep.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Because,
or you can pop out the window and do the same thing.
You can pop out the window, but then you don't have access to this window, the watch list.
Correct.
So the new swing trades alerts are derived from the watch list. It's just our moment, or Andy's moment in time. He says, okay, I think this is probably the best place to take a considerable entry, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Right, cool. But if you ever want to pop these windows out, it's very simple. Right click, duplicate into a free floating window, and you got it. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to save this whole thing to the cloud right here, you would just go open it up, file, save to the cloud. I'll just go ahead and save that. Oh, it's a whole layout, huh? Oh, geez, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I saved to cloud here. I just right click and save to cloud inside the docked window. And
that's right.
Sorry, thank you.
There you go.
All right, so we can close that. It's accessible to anybody who wants it for sure. That's over there on the dock channel bar. And what else was I going to say about that? Yeah, you could pop those windows out if you want to. But let's move on to some of the new features we have. I think that's probably a good place to go. Let's see, new race idea. So we got that, the new top list race idea for the A table, finding short squeezes, possibly in real time, well, hopefully in real time. New features coming. All right, let's spend a little time on that. So new features, I just finished doing a video, and version 5.6 will be available here in the next couple of days before our big test drive. And just to highlight some of the new ideas on there, I want to show you a couple. One, this is really interesting. Let's go to, let's see. Well, the races themselves, we'll start there, show race setup. We now have a way to turn the race off. If I check this box, auto start last day's replay, I could pop this in there, and basically it's defaulted to 6 p.m. Eastern. If you just have these races running, after 6 p.m. Eastern, they're going to default to replay mode. What replay mode does is it shows you everything that happened. Like, let's see if I can open one here. The prior day. Let's see, last race. Let me stop this. Let's go to yesterday. Last trading day. Start the race. That's not what I wanted. Replay. Let's just try auto replay there and see if that'll work. Okay, well, I can't figure out how to run it. It's a new feature. It will automatically run on the weekends and the evenings. I'll just pass that one up here for a moment.
I think it was probably running it. It just
well, it wasn't a six. Yeah. It's supposed to be a 6.5 minute race, and it didn't do that. And I just accidentally closed it. Yeah, so I'm going to come back to that later. But the point being is there's a lot more configuration in the charts as to when you want to see replays. That's really the biggest one. Most of the new versions are going to have these stock symbols instead. And this is probably a perfect segue here. The way you see this data, right? We've got ride. There's the logo. Ride's at 237 right now. It's down 8%. So all of this information is very much encapsulated in a nice little window right there. So that kind of took it to the next level with the next version in the developers. And we've got a thing that we call now Symbol Plus. So I'm going to use the same A table here. And the way in which you can access Symbol Plus, and you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Yes, you did see it on some of those channels. So if you open up a channel, go ahead.
Explain Symbol Plus first.
I'm going to, yeah, Symbol Plus
Oh.
right here. We have to right click on the symbol. And not anywhere inside here. It has to be on the symbol column right there. Right click on the symbol column, Symbol Plus. This is a new submenu. So if I just go normal, all of a sudden now I have kind of this race view that you saw on Andy's screen earlier. And this is the view that you're going to see in all of the pre-configured channels as well. If you don't like that version or that look, simply go in, right click, Symbol Plus, and turn it off. Now within Symbol Plus, there are some interesting ways to configure it. Normal, I think, is probably the best way to go because you're getting the most information of what you need. So that's what normal looks like. You're getting the symbol, you're getting the logo, you're getting the price, and the change on the day. If I wanted to sort this, there's a way to sort this. We go and we right click, sort change from the close percent descending. I think that's what we get. Look at that. Now all of a sudden my top list, I've got them Symbol Pluses all towards the top in terms of the stocks that are up on the day. So I can really kind of just focus and say, well, these ones are from my A table, but they're really up nicely today. And if I didn't catch it on the race, maybe I could see it on here on the top list. That's a pretty strong looking chart too, the sideways action. Couple more options to customize this. No logo. That's probably what I would prefer. For me, the logo is a bit distracting. I don't need it. So I'd probably like that clean look. But by doing this, I don't have to have the price column anymore. I don't have to have the change from the close column anymore. So you can really start to save real estate if you get rid of some of the redundant columns that you don't want to use. And again, sorting is nice doing it that way. So Symbol Plus, again, go ahead.
No, are these the same sorts in every one of them, or does that move around with the number of your columns or the columns that you're using? It's probably set in stone, I would think. Yeah.
It's set in stone when you right click and use this server sort on price. I'm doing it because I want to see the price, all my information in the price window. So the idea could be you could really eliminate a lot more columns if you don't want them.
Sure.
You have a nice little, if I took those columns out, you have a simple little window right there like that.
Sure.
So it's a different way to view, but you don't have to be forced to use it. Okay.
Right.
Symbol and logo, I don't see any value in that whatsoever, but it's there. So me personally, I'm not really used to this yet. I'll probably get used to it at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because I just kind of continue to like my A table setup, and I'm using the races now to kind of keep track of them.
Well, there you go.
That is another new feature. Again, if you go on a channel and all of a sudden the top list look different with that Symbol Plus, it's very easy to turn it off. Right click the symbol header and just turn Symbol Plus off, which is it's off right now. Okay, what else is going on? Well, there's another cool feature with the AI long term. So we all know the AI has been kind of a short term, something happened right now, but we generally lose track of what happens to those stocks as we continue to move day through day. So a new concept is, I'm going to open it here. It's called Premium AI Long Term. Totally different than the AI. What it's doing, let's open it up. What it's doing is it's going back and looking at prior AI calls. So let's go ahead and expand this box for a reason. Okay, we've got 21 symbols on the navigator bar here. So that just moved by one. We'll go back to this one. So Chief was the, it's a sell. Look at that. This was a sell back in July. And so the purpose of this window is to just kind of remind you of the longer term direction of some of the calls the AI has done. Now, what constitutes the necessity to create a thumbnail? Why pick one stock over the other? Well, it's pretty simple. Either shorts making new lows 10, 20 days later, or longs making new highs 5, 10, 15 days later, or also red to green. Maybe there was a buy in the AI that didn't really work that well, but all of a sudden, 6 days later, it's come back and it's reversing from that initial point. So these are all additional ideas for swing traders to just kind of look back and say, the AI liked it back on this day, and it's still kind of moving in the right direction. You can see that we have a lot of data in here, A lot of data squeezed in there. Days profitable. It's kind of a histogram, 24 days profitable. You can see that it's a short, so a lot of green in that one. Nice little array there. So if you want to click through and look at some of the other names, it's one at a time. Thumbnails. That was a nice one. You know, this buyback here at 29.38 on July 11th, it's still going. So the idea here is to not let you lose track of some of the longer term plays. Here's why this one came on, right? Buy, didn't work, but now it just went from red to green. Now it might be interesting. Maybe you put it on your screen. Notice I'm going to click right here on the header on the title bar. That is what will change your charts. Okay, if you're trying to click inside this thumbnail, nothing works. You've got to click the title bar to get the chart to change. Got one more little nugget for this, which is pretty cool. Open it up like that, and we'll call show data grid. So this is all the data that's on these thumbnails. So right now, those are all the stocks from top to bottom that will be shown in these thumbnails if we were to scroll through. But what you can do is you can start to sort these as well. Maybe see which ones are working. Right now, it's sorted on signal time, I believe. But maybe you want to sort on total change. Okay, which ones have been doing really well since then? Oh, MRTX has been doing pretty darn well. And if I go back here, I think, yeah, MRTX is now sorted in the thumbnail lineup. So you can look at your data grid any way you want. Maybe look for things that are unchanged or close to unchanged, but it's just another way of putting ideas in front of you for the long-term traders. We're trying to take the AI into a longer time frame than just day trading. And not everybody's that good at keeping track of all these things. So now this new tool keeps track of everything. The A table is your name, not a new window. The A table is my scan, and I'm going to be happy to give it out right here because I'm sure some people are wondering about this. We talk a lot about it. I don't want to tease you, so I'm going to save and share, copy my A table code. I'm going to drop it in chat, not the questions, but the chat window. And this is basically going to show you all the stocks that have high short floats, and you can start using that as a ground zero, run races, set price alerts, do whatever you want. So the A table cloud code is now in the chat for anybody who wants it. Okay, so that's another new feature that's nice. I'm going to close that. This one has been asked by a lot of people, and we finally delivered. So I'm going to go, what if I want to set a price alert? I want to set a price alert at this current price, 332. Go ahead and hit save. What if it triggers aftermarket? I don't want things to trigger aftermarket, and I'm sure many of you who have used price alerts get a little frustrated when they do trigger aftermarket on a bad tick, and you have to reset them. So now we have a new checkbox right here. After hours, trigger, unchecked trigger after alert, and you're going to be safe and protected in after hours. And going forward, the logic in this is going to be created to a user preference. So the system will realize if you keep setting price alerts and not using after hours, it'll eventually learn that, and you won't have to keep doing that every time. That's down the road. What else did we create for the new version? I think that's it. Anything you want to add, Andy, before we open the floor for questions?
No, you covered it pretty good. That's some cool features there we got coming. And yeah, Steve and I are playing around with them right now. But by far, man, the races, if you're not using them, give them a shot.
None of us were really buying into it at first, but now all of us old grizzled dinosaur traders are fully on board. And it's actually, for me, it's actually bringing me back to day trading a little bit. I don't like to day trade.
Click on the swing picks. I haven't seen that yet.
Let's go on swing picks. The reason I picked this option here, oh, look at that. So the swing picks actually gives you the actual, that's cool, gives you the actual email right there. Mm-hmm. But what I did want to highlight is that when you open the new channels again, remember, they're going to be defaulted to a new color scheme. They're going to be defaulted to the symbol plus. So you could say, no, symbol plus, I don't want to see you like that. And it goes back to the old version. Ron Scott, take a look right here. Right click on top of the symbol. It's off right now, symbol plus, turn it back on. I could say no logo. That's the one I liked. And then you've got the little thumbnail data point. If you want to turn it off, right click on the symbol column. That's the only place you'll get this menu. Symbol plus, turn it back off. All right, so yeah, some more defaulted chart designs, but you really do have control over the appearance if you don't like the way the new defaults look. So at this point, I think we'll just open the floor to questions or any stock charts you guys might want to look at. I got a few minutes here before we bring Scott back. let's see, what have we got? House promotion August 11th. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. All right, here comes Dave with some ideas.
Let's go on with the big boys, some Apple and Amazon.
Very nice consolidation in Apple.
Very much like the SPYs.
This could be a wonderful catalyst to drag the market higher if that consolidation resolves nicely. And then Amazon. Amazon, a little different story. Amazon still has this giant ceiling, of the 200-day. So we're going to get pinched probably between the 10 SMA and the 200 SMA in Amazon. Apple looks far better being above all of its moving averages. It's the opposite side. What do they call it? The underworld or whatever in that show everybody watches, Stranger Things. Amazon stuck in the underworld. All right, I saw another question. David, did you do some tweak to the composite rating window recently? New strategy from it since then? I have original. No, the only tweak I did was I just, I took it from a high composite rating of 80 or 90, and I just opened it down to F, 50. If you get a 50 on your college term, you're not happy, you're an F student. So I wanted to bring in everything possible so I can now monitor it through the race. And it's a great classic example, David, of the kind of market we were in a year and a half ago versus the kind of market we're in now. You've got to constantly adjust. You've got to consider yourself a manager of a baseball team. You know, sometimes it's just not time for the left-handed pitcher. Sometimes it's time to throw in the right-handed pitcher, or maybe, you know, something else. But nothing is going to work constant every day and always work. The market changes, the dynamics change, and that's one of the reasons I changed the configuration of the A table, is to bring in more ideas, because now there's short squeezes going off left and right in stocks that have been in a downtrend. So yeah, I'll take that. Let's see. Aswin, the races are derived from a list. So if I take this A table right here and I right click it, I can launch a real-time stock race. And what it'll tell me is when the market's back on tomorrow, I'm going to have it set up on, let's see, 10 symbols at the most. Each segment will do 5-minute races. So every 5 minutes, a new race starts over. And the winner is shown over here in the finish line based on change from the open. That's what I want. Sorted by change from the delta sort. And I just launch it. So it's a secondary window for a lot of our top lists to try and figure out which one of these names are really moving up or down the totem pole or the whatever. So it's a great assistant to these types of scans, and they're very much more useful during the day when it's live. So after about a half an hour of the market open, I will start to click through some of those names, like I did over here. Who are some of these names that are showing up on the scans today? Should I be aware of something? Should I set some price alerts? You know, it depends on what you want to do. But again, there's 9,000 stocks on there. You might as well focus on where the action is. All right, well, so thanks. One more, we'll do Costco for Dave, and then we'll bring Scott in. Costco, similar to BJ's, but not BJ's. Costco's doing okay. You know, they got a real hammering back here when Walmart and Target, when Walmart warned, but they've recovered quickly, because I think the same story that BJ's Wholesale gives is what Costco gives. People are trying to save money left and right wherever they can. A little bit of a bad close here in terms of breaking the 10 SMA. Also, a little bit of a rough time here on this 130 SMA that I use. So, Dave, I would say watch that 20 SMA. You don't want it to close below the 20 SMA. If it does, it's probably coming back to test that 200. So that's what I would watch out for there. All right, that's all I've got other than a dry mouth. Let's bring in Scott for any last minute notes.
Yeah, there's a couple of things we can mention on the way out. If you're already an interactive brokerage client, or if you're thinking about it, keep in mind that it's the E-Trade slide. Sorry about that. Well, we integrate with E-Trade through Brokerage Plus. You can auto trade your E-Trade account directly from within Trade Ideas, and for a $0 commission. To learn more about our integration with E-Trade, just go to trade-ideas.com/E-Trade. And then the next slide will show you that we also have a very similar integration with Interactive Brokerage, allowing you to manage your positions and trade directly from trade ideas using interactive brokerage account once you connect it to Brokerage Plus. To learn more about becoming an interactive brokerage client, go to trade-ideas.com/IDKR. And as we mentioned at the top of the meeting today, we have a test drive coming up. It starts Monday the 15th, and it is the best way to try out premium trade ideas, whether you're a standard subscriber and just want to see what the premium features can do for you, or if you're not yet a subscriber and want to see and sample the complete suite of our features, just go to trade-ideas.com/test drive. We do charge a nominal fee to get in because we have the live market data and extra support that we're providing for those 2 weeks. It's a great way to sample us, and there's no obligation to start a subscription. It's just a 2-week trial. So trade-ideas.com/test drive. If you want to become a subscriber today or upgrade from standard to premium today, go grab the code FASTDATA and just plug that in on checkout or your upgrade, and it will save you 15% off your first month or year of a new subscription or upgrade. And you can find Steve on Twitter at TISteveG. Also look for @TradeIdeas. We are Trade Ideas on YouTube. We're Trade Ideas Pro on Facebook. Steve's got a TikTok. You can find him. He's Today Trader there. And if you have any questions, email us. info@tradeIdeas.com goes directly to our help desk. It gets you the best support you could possibly hope for. The recording of the session will be up later on tonight or tomorrow. You get an email reminder tomorrow with a link to the playlist. Steve, Andy, have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday.